Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. How's everybody doing? Hey, Heather, good morning.
Good morning. Oh, I like the addition of music. It's got me
Yeah, it got
grooving.
me
That
like,
was a good choice, John. Yeah, let's do it.
yeah. Listen, it's that evolution. It's funny because this morning I did a quick TikTok and I talked about consistency. And the reason I brought it up is this week has been, in the word of a lie, a little bit tough getting to my workouts, right? Like even this morning, I struggled with it. Like I'm like, man, why am I? It's cold outside, and I don't know if I really want to do this. Oh, should I go? Maybe I'll just take a rest day. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I did a rest day the other. Like all these negotiations and conversations are happening in my head. I'm like, oh, I just got to be consistent, right?
Consistent. Yes.
I just got to take
Consistent.
one.
And I saw someone's TikTok I'm stealing their line, and it was ask your schedule, not your feelings. So if you've got it
Ooh,
scheduled as a non-negotiable, so ask your schedule, not your feelings, because your feelings in the moment are going to negotiate. But your commitment to your future self when you
mm.
made that schedule is who you want to listen to. So that guy was way more smarter than the guy that just woke up and can't make a decision yet because it's too cold out. So ask your schedule, not your feelings.
Yeah, no, and it was yes. So what it all summed down to is just being consistent, right? And we think about being consistency like, my goal was to go out and run 10K this morning. I didn't do 10, I did close to 8, so I'm like okay with it. Um, but it was just a matter of just being consistent, right? Like even if you're gonna do 50 to 60 or 70% of what you originally were gonna do, it's still better than zero. Even
Some is
forty
better than
percent,
none. Yeah.
yeah,
Some is
even
better than
like
none.
40% is better than zero. So the key
And
is consistency, right?
key is consistency and do something, do
Mm,
anything, take a baby step because so many people, if they're, and this happens over the holidays, this happens sort of when we get out of sync of our consistency, is we're like, you know what, I'm just going to eat the chocolate. And well, now that I eat the chocolate, I'll eat more chocolate. And, I didn't go work out. So I'm just going to actually, today's going to be a Netflix day and I'm just going to no, just do 5 push-ups, just do something, do
mm,
anything to get your body movement. And it just because you made one decision that wasn't the ideal one doesn't mean that all your future decisions for that whole day, you don't write off a day. We only get this day once in our entire
mm.
lifetime. And here's a crazy thought. This is the youngest you're going to be in your entire lifetime right now in this moment. So make the most because it's not going to get easier. It's going to get harder, but you can
Wait,
actually
wait, wait, wait,
future
wait, wait.
yourself.
I want to catch you on that language. Is it really going to
Mm.
get harder, or is that just a way of thinking?
It is if you make those decisions that you're giving excuses. Yes, it will get
Yes.
harder to make better decisions the more bad decisions that you make. And actually, I'll take that word back because bad or good. It's just decisions that aren't who your future self wants to be. That's all.
Yeah. No, yeah. There's just so much to like unpack in there, just really around just moving forward. Like your goal. I thought about your goal this morning. Your push-ups, right? Your
Yep.
one push-up, your one and a half push-up, your two push-ups. It's as long as you keep moving forward. I think that's the key, right? Regardless of some. So consistency will always beat out skill and experience because you're just keeping moving forward, right? And that to me is the goal, right? As long as you can keep moving forward, regardless of whatever you set out for yourself in terms of a goal, it's just moving forward. Like every
Mm-hmm.
baby step matters. That's almost like a tagline. Every baby step matters. And it's just about moving forward. Because this week, I don't know, this week was a little bit different. Usually I like boom, boom, boom. We both are, right? We jump out, we're
Yeah.
excited, we're ready to go. But this week was different. So,
I had a similar week, John. So this week's been like a little bit tougher. Some things are moving around, and you just got to look at these speed bumps and go, okay, and how am I going to manage that? And what's the meaning I'm putting on this situation that might be taking me off my game or taking me out of my consistency? And is the meaning truly what's happening, right? So we always got to be living in the present moment and say, what's happening
yeah.
right now and what's my reaction? And has it altered my choices that I would normally make in this day, in this hour, in this minute? And the answer might be, okay, yes, it's different. And we give ourselves excuses. We're really good at giving ourselves permission
Mm,
to do things. but just to ask someone else. Like whenever I'm having a day like this, I just call John. I'm like, John, I don't feel like doing it. He's like, why? And then I'm not, and John, here's what you would say to me. I'm not talking to the Heather right now that's making this decision. I'm talking to the future Heather that I know is amazing, has made major commitments, and knows how she got there. So when I talk to that Heather, is she making the same decision as the Heather that doesn't feel like it right now? No, she's not. So talk to your future self and say, all right, where are we going? Where are we going today? And I
Yeah.
know I have to make some new decisions so I can help you get there.
Yeah, no, and I love it. Helen just shared today is a little bit hard as well. She's not feeling very good. She's in a little bit of pain. Yeah, no, 100%. Listen, one of the lines that I think about all the time. I know it's a famous line. I don't know where it's from exactly, but this too shall pass. The good, the bad, this too shall pass, and it's just a moment that we're floating through, and then at some point we're just going to get out of this moment into another moment. So, but I do love the fact that you talked about the future self, right? Like if my future self, and actually there's a little bit of that future self voice that's always in there that says, John, like you gotta go. You just gotta go. You just gotta go. Go get it done. And I go, right? Like I negotiate with my, I'm like, why am I negotiating? My future self definitely knows a lot more than I do right now. Just go, right? I know, yeah, it's
Uh,
powerful.
I have a tattoo that has me get activated. So I have a tattoo that has 5 butterflies because I'm in my 50th year. And every year, every 10 years, I'm going to add a butterfly. So my 90-year-old self says, girl, you are going to have to earn that butterfly. So get going and live an awesome life. And literally, I'm going to be like a 90-year-old getting another tattoo. And I can see myself sitting in the tattoo chair doing this, but that I earned the metamorphosis and the change that
Yeah.
happened in that 10-year span. So my tattoo is actually future outlook. And I when I was thinking about what tattoo I was going to get, that was the intention. And in fact, this year, was when I added to it, I was like, man, I didn't earn just one butterfly. Like that was an amazing 10 years. I'm gonna I did a whole another half back piece, but that's a whole nother story. So, that think about, and you don't have to go as extreme as a tattoo. You can, write a story to yourself, write a thank you letter from the future. You can, think about and visualize who you're going to be, how you're going to impact the world, when you're living your best life. And that's my advice. And Helen, I want to just talk about the pain that you're in, and I don't know what your pain is, but sit with it today and just close your eyes and send it some love. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but on Wednesday I went to the theater. We have theater passes, and the Royal Alex. You have to walk up and down stairs. There's no elevators there, and I had this moment of gratitude because just a year ago, because of my knee and the pain that I was going through, I remember going down those same stairs and everyone was passing me, and they were all older because people that go to the theater are older than me. And they were passing me on the stairs, and I'm like, this is so disheartening. And I have to go down the stairs because that's where the bathrooms are. And I was in a lot of pain. And this week when I went, I did those same stairs and I was no problem, wasn't even thinking about it. And then when I was coming up the stairs, I remembered that feeling, that same moment when I stood there before. And I just sent love down to my knee. I'm like, thank you for getting me up these stairs. Thank you for helping me get there. And thank you for healing. Thank you for taking the amount of time it took to heal, because although it was frustrating for me, I had to learn those lessons, and I sent my knee love. So wherever you're feeling pain, just send it some love, touch it, feel it, and send it some love, because we can heal with the power of our energy. And you may need to get doctor's advice as well, but it's sort of like, how do you do all the things for you? And John, you love doing this. You actually have amazing processes. I know we've talked about it before, but I just love that you put the word love and all kinds of other good stuff on frozen food. Tell that story again, because it's so freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's funny. So every time I go to the store, I always buy more. So I end up freezing. I freeze my food, right? And I vacuum seal my bags. And so I put them in the freezer. They last a little bit longer. So one of the things I do on my food, outside of the date and how many pieces are in the bag, I write down love, health, healing on the outside. And actually, I'll post a photo And even for my dogs, right? Because I always put a little bit of extra stuff aside for them. I freeze it, and I always put health. I put abundance. I put love. I put a vibrancy. Like there's all these key words because these words give, I believe, or at least what I've learned, is that they give the food the energy, right? So it's not just sitting there in your freezer like, whatever, it's just food, it's chicken, it's whatever, actually. It's just chicken. But when I write those words down, that's the emotion that I'm putting into it too. That's the energy that I'm putting into my food when I write it. This way, when I pull it out, and here, let me tell you the truth, like none of my stuff comes out freezer burn. Like it could be 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever that is. I know it's vacuum sealed, but my food always comes out good and it tastes good. I even write down tasty, right? Like I put down on my food tasty. Like how crazy is that? That, I learned this years ago, whatever word you put on top of something ends up infusing that thing, right? And it happens with the people around us too, right? If we say, Helen, I know you've got your thing, and Heather, thank you for the reminder. Send your body some love, right? Because that's what it needs right now, right? Because we all, what ends up happening, or at least for myself, when I'm like in pain, I'm disappointed. I'm like, and then like I start to feel, I'm disappointed with my body. My body's never going to get better. And whatever we tell ourselves is what ends up showing up for us, right? Because one of the things that we were talking about pre-show was, language and words. And how are we using those words to empower us instead of disempowering us? This week I put a post around showing love in the workplace, and I've been getting some incredible feedback. I know you two, you have as well, Heather. It's just been amazing to see like, oh, love in the workplace. Like, is it one of those taboo words, right? And I know we did an interview years ago on one of my podcasts where I asked you, is it appropriate to use the word love in the workplace? Right. And it's those, sorry, go ahead.
No, I want to say it's completely appropriate when used to empower someone in a really, elevate them and let them see what you see in them in terms of their strengths and their power and how they show up. And but it has to be very specific too, I think, in the workplace so that it's not misunderstood in any way. So, if you're like, oh my God, I just love you. Okay, it may be misunderstood, although I think I've said that to people. But if you add on, I really love when you just said this, that was so incredible. Or, wow, did you ever nail that presentation? And here's what was so amazing and the impact that you made. So you got to, what is it that you're giving them as feedback? And then where is it showing up so that they can actually repeat that same behavior or play to that strength again. So feedback is really important with specifics and real time. Like if you wait till the end of the month and say, I really loved when you did X, the energy's gone. You've missed the opportunity. It's not there anymore. So you got to be real time and giving that feedback with the intention to have them play to their strengths even more often, because we don't know how we show up to other people. John, me and you, we have conversations here. We have a conversation. Sometimes we're like, oh, that was a really good conversation. And then we hear from our audience, this resonated with me, and that wasn't even some of the messages we meant to have. We never know what people need to hear. So that, it's really important that we focus on what we want to tell them about themselves. John, I know there's some things that and we've heard lots of things that shouldn't be said in the workplace too, but I don't know if we're going to get into that conversation today.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to go there, but one of the thoughts, I just want to take a quick second. Good morning, Gunjan, for joining. I love the commitment and dedication and the loyalty, my friend. You are always here. It's amazing. The one thing I want to talk about is just, what language is appropriate in the workplace, right? And I thought about this as I was responding to a client this week in terms of a new engagement that I booked with them. And I said, I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity. And I had to sit there for a second. I'm like, is that appropriate? Is that right? Like, this is somebody who works in a corporate environment, like using the word grateful. Is it grateful for the opportunity? Like, my head started to spin in terms of, do I click send or do I rewrite this in I really appreciate appreciate instead of grateful, right? Like just using that language. And then I thought for a second, I'm like, wait a minute, that's not authentically me. Authentically me says, just like we have all the bits and parts of us, right? That's one of the things that we teach as we do our NLP work. The part of me said, you know what? You are grateful. So just express it that way. But
Hmm.
there was like this conflict that showed up in me for like almost 5 minutes. Like, do I, don't I? It's just like the first time I posted that picture of me, with my transformation. I'm like, dude, this is weird. Like, I'm wearing shorts and that's it, and I'm gonna post this on LinkedIn. Like, is that even appropriate? I'm like, but wait a minute, it's me. It's who I am. It's being my authentic self. And how
Yeah.
many times do we hold ourselves from doing that, right? Like, how many times do we hold back from saying what we want to say, as long as it's loving and it's positive and it's out there to encourage and support others? We hold off on those things because we think it's inappropriate. And then we're kind of denying that part of ourselves that is truly authentic and genuine. Like,
It's
how many
so
times do
true,
we do
John.
that?
So true. And our environment dictates what's culturally normal. And so, both of us coming from a highly regulated situation and company, the corporate speak, sort of gets into your DNA. And then you're like, wait a minute, that's not my voice. And I'll tell you, as a leader, I remember, and I as a executive, as a woman executive, you come up in ranks of more men than women. Just the numbers work that way. And I remember really early in my career, I was emulating the mentors that were around me, and they were men, and it just didn't feel authentic, and it just wasn't me, and it was a real struggle. And the moment I changed to have my voice was when I stood out in a way that people noticed me. And I mean, I moved up the ranks, so I would imagine that for a good portion of it, that was a good thing. But there was also some people that were like, you can't say that in the workplace. And when they were saying not to say that, they were like, you can't be so, giving of your time, and you can't be so, happy all the time. And talking about culture and people, and, and I'm like, no, I can actually. And the power of the process improvements that we need to make are going to come from the people. The power of changing our customer experience is going to come from the people. I'm just one person that's going to help cultivate an environment where people feel good at the workplace. And
Mhm.
when I stayed true to that line, I had immense success, like humongous success. Unheard of numbers were met, but I did it with my intentions and my voice. And even today, like sometimes I realize on our podcast, I'm still a little bit too corporate, right? And I want to be more Heather. So, find your voice, but find it slowly and try on different things. And
Yeah.
that's the advice I would give.
No, I love that because we, like, even dealing with clients and customers, I feel like sometimes, like, even myself, like, I shift into somebody that I'm not just to be able to appease them. But I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't leave an environment where I had to do that to do this now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm me,
No,
right?
I actually have one more example that is hilarious that we're talking about words. So today the dishwasher hasn't like the dishwasher's full. So I had to go to the back of the cupboard for my coffee mug today. And I pulled out my coffee mug, and in my head, it was a quick thought. I was like, I'm going to feel smart today. Well, look at the cup that I'm using today. Harvard. This is from when I went to Harvard. And so just the act of the cup that I chose today, I made a mental note. It was a second, but it just came back to me. It's like, I'm going to be smart today. So, think of your environment. Think of what you surround yourself with. Think of the sticky notes that if you put them on your computer for the day to say how you want to show up, a quick smile, a quick happy, a quick positively impact 3 people today or 5 people today, what that would do for the rest of your day. And, Helen, for yourself, what if you put, something joyous in front of you? The pain may not go away, but it may be more easy to deal with. So think about what you're going to surround yourself with today. How do you create words and an environment that is positive energy, 100,000%, And then how do we say yes to the stuff that sort of gets in our way and scares us a bit, so that we just move through it, and we just say it's time to move on. What's the time to do? What's your future self say, John?
It's time to go. Time to go.
It's time to go.
Time to go. Time
It's
to go.
time to go. And it's literally time to go for us.
So just one housekeeping item. Listen, we have all of our replays now available on all the major podcast platforms. So if you want to catch one of the previous episodes, Spotify, Apple, Google, Bean, something, there's a whole bunch of different iHeart, the podcast, iHeart Radio, we're all there. So you don't ever have to miss an episode if you want to go back. But we do have a request. The request is that you take, if you found this useful and you found it that it gave you some value today, to just share it out with 2 friends. It's how we get to impact the 1 million people that we're striving for this year. And that's our big goal through what we're doing through the Say Yes movement. And it's really around creating impact. And the only way we can do that is through your support. So that is the request. So with that in mind, we are wrapping up the Say Yes movement podcast. We're going to wish everyone an amazing day. And just remember, when you shift your mindset, you shift your life. So with that, have a great one, everybody. Take care.